Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Apologies for the lateness of this video, but I've got to confess, my allergies have just been obscene all day. Just my eyes streaming and streaming. I felt like a teenage girl going through her first breakup. It's not good. Why did he have to do that to me? Anyway, and then on top of that, I had two videos planned for today, and I'm just going to be absolutely honest with you. When I was trying to put these videos together, I came to the conclusion I didn't give a shit about either of them. I really didn't. And if I'm going to do a video for you, I think it's only fair that you feel my interest in the topic instead of just robotically trying to report something for the sake of something. And the first video was going to be about Ion Fury's development team capitulating, compromising their game to appease some SJWs because they dare put a little parody of Oil of Olay in their game, but instead they called it O-Gay. Oh no! Whatever will the children say? And there was another thing which agreed shouldn't have been there, but to even see it, you had to use a cheat to get out of bounds to go. So that's just by the by. But the whole thing was hypocritical because the game itself is like ultra violent and blood everywhere and all this, that and the other. So it's just like, yeah, okay, that's a thing we can't have, but these are things we can have. It's like, piss off. You deserve to bend the knee. You deserve to go and do your sensitivity training, hence the tweet if you saw earlier on my Twitter. You go and do your sensitivity training. Have you ever heard of something so stupid in your life? Sensitivity. Jesus wept. And then the second one was going to be about Riot deciding to settle the class action lawsuit with the people. And again, having gone through all of that gubbins a couple of months back, gone through all the articles, gone through the people's statements and all this kind of stuff, I came to the conclusion that Riot seems to be full of arseholes and snowflakes, and they just can't seem to get on. But all the snowflakes are crying and throwing lawsuits about the place because of this or that. And to be honest with you, that company just deserves it. It just deserves themselves. They just deserve themselves. Whatever. Settle. I don't give a toss. But I then decided to have a lie down because I'm quite clearly worked up and vexed with all this coming down my face. And a few people have sent me this article. I think a couple of people have sent me this article anyway on Twitter. And then it'd been emailed to me a couple of times as well. So I read through this article and then I was immediately like, this is great. This article is absolutely great. Because it's about an indie dev, and I don't mean this disrespectfully whatsoever, who does absolutely nothing above and beyond and comes out a bit of a hero. And what I mean by that is, all they do is use common sense and logical thinking to decide what is best for them and their company's future. And then just to put the icing on the cake, it actually ends with them clearly showing off Tim Sweeney's hypocrisy when it comes to the Epic Store and the gaming industry. So, this whole thing is wonderful. So first things first, they put out this article. And it's really so they don't get quoted out of context. And these are their words. So you can't confuse the issue here. So they give a little bit of background about themselves. They're an indie developer. Their first title is called Dark. They worked on it for about 3.5 years, mostly on their own, but they contracted a few people in that time as well to help. And it was in the top 50 most wishlisted games on Steam before it launched, which has got to be wonderful for a first-time dev. Your title is in the top 50 wishlisted games. So, you know, they've got a bit of a buzz about them. On July the 27th, they uploaded a new announcement trailer showing off the Steam launch date of Dark. On the 30th of July, just 3 days later, they were contacted by the Epic Store, proposing that he enters into an exclusivity agreement with them instead of releasing Dark on Steam. And they made it very clear that that non-exclusivity, multi-platform, wasn't on the table at all. So they couldn't say, well, I'll come on to the Epic Store, fine, but I also wish to continue to be released on Steam and also GOG, as I have mentioned. No. Epic are stressing this is an exclusivity, can't go on any other platform. Bearing in mind they've just announced a couple of days before the release date for Steam. And we'll see the communication later on because it's important to Tim Sweeney's hypocrisy. Why I rejected their offer. Now, this is where, to me, this person became really credible and I really liked them. I really liked their honesty, but more importantly, their earnestness. Because the first thing they stress is, I like money. You know, you can hear about all these devs. Oh, we work for passion. We work for this. We work for that. But ultimately, you know, it is a business, and they do need to make money. What is the wonderful thing here? Is he's not prepared to compromise everything, principles, morals, any of that, to make the money. And that's the significant difference here. Yeah, I like money. I'm making this video game. I want to make money from this video game, but at the same time, it does matter to me how I make the money. Do I want to burn people and take an Epic Store exclusivity deal? I would get more money out of it. It would be safe from the perspective of doesn't have to worry about sales because that would be covered by the store. No. So he says here, I like money, and getting some upfront payment on top of guaranteed revenue sounds great. But although I'm a first-time dev, I'm very serious about working in this industry for a long time, thinking of the future. I had just announced Dark release date on Steam. Pulling the game off Steam a few days after Steam release date announcement would forever ruin the credibility of my studio. He just had to take a step back and assess the situation. Now, I could bring up the explanation of what happened with Ooblets, but he actually brings it up later on, so I'll deal with it then. But it is good to see somebody is saying, look, I want to make games, I want to make money off making games, but I want this to be my future. I want this to be my long-term job. And if I do this now, the amount of credibility I will lose. Remember what I've been saying in the last few days about promises and stuff. His word would mean nothing. His word would mean nothing. I'm coming out with a new game. This one's going to be on Steam. People don't know because they've already been burnt. I would like for my customers to have confidence that my word means something. Who is this crazy man, people? Who is this crazy man that has a conscience, that has morality? Oh! Especially when making announcements as crucial as the release date and the platform. Turning down the Epic exclusivity offer might have been a foolish decision in the short term, considering the amount of money that might have been involved. When thinking long term, however, this was an easy and obvious decision to make in my case. Now, he also stresses up here, because I'm not trying to take this guy out of context, that this was the best decision for them. Might not be the best decision for other game developers, but this was absolutely the best decision for them. Dark was listed on Steam since late 2018. A lot of Steam users added Dark to their wishlist and patiently waited for its release date for almost a year. Pulling the game off Steam, especially so close to release date, would surely make a lot of Dark fans unhappy. What does that sound like, folks? Ah, yes. It sounds like Metro Exodus, that was only 2 or 3 weeks away from releasing on Steam as one of the platforms, and then it got pulled to an Epic Store exclusive. So people that weren't involved in pre-order culture, and you get a thumbs up from Az, they had to either go to the Epic Game Store to now purchase the game, or they'd have to purchase it on console where it was also going to be. Now, they stressed that it sold very well on the Epic Game Store. That doesn't mean, though, that it would have done less on Steam. The fact that it did very well on the Epic Game Store showed how popular the title actually was. And if it was on Steam, the likelihood is probably would have done a whole lot more. But of course, on the Epic Game Store, you get a better cut of cheddar. And so it was a purely financial decision on the other company's behalf. 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks before launch, burning customers in the process. So short-term boost, long-term, how are people respond to another Metro game? I don't know. You know, we'll just have to cross that bridge when I come to it. He then goes into an analogy about Amazon, which we don't really need to go into. Will I make less money on Steam than I would by accepting the financial guarantee from the Epic Store? Probably. But it's a fair price to pay for establishing an ongoing trust between my studio and its customers. This guy's absolutely mental. How dare they act like a normal human being? Unfold Games, my studio, is here to stay, and Dark is just the beginning. I love this guy. It was important to me to give players what they wanted. Options. A lot of people requested that Dark be made available on GOG. I was happy to work with GOG to bring the game to their platform. I wish the Epic Store would allow indie games to be sold there non-exclusively, as they do with larger, still unreleased games, Cyberpunk 2077, so players can enjoy what they want, a choice. Now, of course, Cyberpunk 2077 can, CD Projekt Red, they can dictate all the terms that they want. Hey, do you want to be an Epic Store exclusive? We'll share. We have our own platform, remember? GOG. But we'll share. You know, so they understand choice. They're saying, you know, we'll give you the choice, but it's going to be on GOG, and a third of our pre-orders are on GOG, and it's going to be on whatever. But also, what was interesting is they understand that the customer appreciates having the option. And what I have said time and again about the Epic Game Store is they're not doing themselves any favors, because they are not offering the ability to say, come to us as an option. I can't remember the exact words that are used for the Epic Game Store, but they're essentially ransoming the game. They're saying, hey, you've got to come to us. You can't go elsewhere. If you want this title, it's got to be through us. And when you are forcing people to go to you, you're not building up a relationship with that company. You're building up resentment. That's what you're doing. They're going to resent you for this. Ha ha ha, you've got to come to us. You're our customer now. Soon as people get the option, they are out. Trust me. If people have the option, they will be out of there immediately, because you got them through, when I say false pretenses, you understand what I mean. They forced you to come there. So let's get on to the Ooblets deal. Coincidentally, the day after I rejected their offer, Ooblets developers announced that they accepted the exclusivity deal from the Epic Store, which caused quite a lot of controversy. Now, of course, that controversy wasn't just because they accepted an Epic Store exclusivity deal. I think if you speak to any reasonably minded person, we're all in agreement that for that game, it was a good decision for them to do. The thing about the Ooblets game was the manner in which they announced it, and the verbiage that they used in their announcement, and the way that they essentially just attacked people, and the condescension and all this sort of thing that was they claimed was light-hearted. Was it fuck? So it's the way that they did it, and they could have phrased it so differently, and people would have probably just supported them. But of course, that also had crowdfunding and da-da-da-da-da. So there was other aspects involved with that. But when people started to come to him for comment, are you going to do this? Are you going to go on the Epic Store? Are you going to become exclusive? He did stress, no, I have rejected an offer from them. It will be releasing Steam and GOG as promised. So, he wants to bring this up by Tim Sweeney. Because he actually got tagged. Not because he's being malicious, but he got tagged into this. So he actually wanted to show that Tim Sweeney is actually full of shit. Tim Sweeney is responding to this tweet by Cyberpunk 2077. This is beginning of July. So this is just 3 odd weeks before Epic Games contacted him about exclusivity. And CD Projekt Red said, or this tweet anyway about Cyberpunk says, 1/3 of the Cyberpunk 2077's PC digital pre-orders have been on GOG, which of course is CD Projekt Red's platform, which is incredible. Tim Sweeney says, congrats to GOG, more proof that multi-store future is here now. And rather than fragmenting the PC gaming community, GOG's Galaxy efforts are working to bring it together and unite it with console communities too. Well, then this person replies to Tim Sweeney, if that's true, why did you want Unfold Games, Darks, that's the name of the developer, so Dark, to be an Epic Store exclusive, then refuse when he offers the game to be multi-platform, to go on Steam and also on GOG as well, which they don't mention. So he shows off this email that he got from Epic. Hi Vlad, thanks for getting back to us. To be clear, and since we are pressed for time, would be interested in bringing the game exclusive to the Epic Store. We aren't in a position yet to open the store up to games that sim ship. So shipping simultaneously, going to Steam, going to GOG. Tim Sweeney, more proof that the multi-store future is here and now. Unfortunately, Epic don't want to participate in that. They want everything locked behind the Epic Games Store. They only when they can't dictate the terms are they prepared to even consider that, because they'll be getting some chunk of cheese as opposed to no chunk of cheese. So it's a really, really interesting article that they create. And they end it just by saying, I wish there wasn't a double standard and indie developers were given an equal opportunity to sell their games across multi-store fronts so the players can enjoy what they seem to want the most, a choice. Because ultimately, when Epic are coming to you with a big wad of cash, saying, look, we will guarantee your sales, so there's no risk for you. All you have to do is be an exclusive behind us. It is a very tempting offer for an indie developer, and you can't, for the most part, depending on how they respond to their own communities, or how that game has been funded. So, for argument's sake, things like Shenmue 3 and Phoenix Point and other such games that have received heavy crowdfunding. If it's all been developed in-house yourself, very tempted to get that security, and it is a deal that would be quite foolish to turn down in that sort of environment. But when you are doing it exclusively and you're saying, look, I want my game to go out to these platforms, I've said that my game will go out to these platforms, then the Epic Games Store are treating the indie developers like trash. No, off you go then. No. Because we want to secure that exclusivity. Hypocrisy. Thy name is the Epic Games Store. And it's probably not going to get any better. But again, I don't think Epic care. I truly don't, which is the shame. But I'm glad that this person hasn't done anything above and beyond, like I said, and that's not a disrespectful thing. They've just logically thought the situation out. I have announced this for Steam. People have asked me for this to be on GOG as well. I've also opened that option up for them. Short term, I'm going to make more money. Long term, my name Jeff. My name's going to be mud. My name is worthless. And I might not be able to put out a second game. I mean, I don't mean this in a threatening manner, but, you know, good luck. Good luck to this couple. If they try and put out another game, it'd be interesting to see how people respond to them. Oh, no. The same people that did Ooblets. No, mate. You know what they were like. So they're just setting themselves up for being able to work in the industry for years and years to come. And good on them. Good on them. So I think that was a really interesting, as I've waffled on for 20 odd minutes, I think that was a really interesting story to tell, folks. Something, hopefully, to inspire you on this Friday. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now. Time to cry like a schoolgirl. Now, if you've stuck around after the credits, I wanted to stick this here because this isn't... I didn't want to turn this video into a little bit of me, but because of this and reading this and being kind of inspired by their logical thought and you know, understanding that they still want to make money, but at the same time, they want to make it in a way that they feel is ethical and responsible, I went out and I bought their game. It cost £15, just over £15 here in the UK. So I went over and I bought their game. So just a little thing to do, because of the way that they responded. So there you go. Bye.